What is going on out there, peeps? Let's get back to Iraq, shall we? Hey, folks, just a quick reminder that back in 2008 and 9, a lot of people lost all of their retirement savings in their 401ks and IRAs because they did not own gold and silver. Yeah, that's right. Gold and silver protects you from a market crash. So do yourself a favor, protect your retirement by purchasing gold and silver. You can go to moneymetals.com, reach out to them, and they will help you set yourself up to protect you and your family from having to start all over from scratch. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they will send along with your order a free half ounce of silver. So folks, do yourself a favor, head on over to moneymetals.com and protect you and your family from a market crash, as well as inflation. So make sure you guys head on over to Money Metals. Right now is a good time. There's a lot of signs that are showing us the economy is getting ready to collapse. The link is down below in the description. For those of you looking for my address, there it is right there. This here is my alternative website. I encourage you guys to go check it out. Right now, there's one of the videos that are on there is free. So if you come to the website like this, and the link is down below, hit the videos, scroll on down here. See this one right here? It says Pimpy and Doc Temple. Click it. It's free. There's a lot of information about the RONA that you guys need to hear about. Okay? And it's something you're going to want to share with your family. So listen to what the doc has to say, okay? So let's get back into Iraq. So what does it say here? Saleh Gutierrez, ensuring the election and their fairness is a priority, and we support easing tensions in the region. We all know that the president of the Republic of Iraq is at the United Nations, had a chance to meet with a lot of world leaders, talking about what they need to do to make the elections fair and transparent, as well as easing tensions, obviously, over there in the Middle East. There's a lot of people who are really concerned about what's going on in Afghanistan. And after everything that, Biden did, we're curious to see what that leads to, considering he just equipped an army with $85 billion worth of equipment. So there is a lot of talk about that going on. But anyways, Saleh's in here guaranteeing that Iraq will have fair and transparent elections. There's going to be a lot of different nations there monitoring this election to show you how important this election is and why Iraq is important to the world. It is the gateway into the Middle East. Why do you suppose there's so many different so-called election monitoring groups going there? A lot of different nations are sending representatives into Iraq for this election. You don't think that's weird? Any of you? Go ahead and throw it in the comment. I'm just curious what you think about it. So anyways, he says the Iraqi president has stressed the necessity of strengthening the international solidarity in facing the challenge of the era of represented in combating violence and terrorism, as well as facing the climate challenge crisis and protecting the environment. Whatever, that's BS. Saleh also said up above that the importance of the up-and-coming elections for the Iraq people and the need to provide the utmost integrity, justice, and transparency in their conduct, stressing the need to support efforts to consolidate the security and stability of Iraq and its people, and the importance of working to reduce tensions in the region and restore Iraq to its pivotal role in it. They seem to be doing a really good dang job, if you ask me. I'm really impressed with the strides that Al-Qademi has been able to make. So far, so good. I know one of the other things they want to do, definitely, without a doubt, is get their sovereignty reinstated. In preparation for the upcoming Baghdad conference, the formation of a ministerial committee that includes Iraq, Jordan, and France. It looks like Iraq is going to be hosting, yet again, another type of conference in Baghdad. This is good. Again, they're networking with other nations. This is what you want. They want to start getting out back on the international scene, which is important to strengthen their economy. And we know what happens if your economy is strong. Well, so is your currency. Saleh calls for international coordination to face three challenges. I know he's been really concerned about what happened over in Afghanistan, that I could tell you. Okay, so he has been reaching out to the surrounding nations. If these people stand together and unite, they can fight this. I really believe that. But anyway, it says so here's what he wanted to talk about. To face various challenges facing the region and the world. That's exactly right, because what happened in Afghanistan, it does affect the world, because if they continue to grow, and I'm talking about terrorists, are using Afghanistan as a training and launching ground, considering the fact that they just pick up $85 billion worth of presence from this administration, could be really bad. But so far, they haven't been able to use what we left him as a gift any serious way so far at the moment. But anyways, the president goes on to say that he was received today in New York to discuss bilateral relations in a way to enhance them in all fields, especially economic, trade, and investment aspects in various sectors. Yeah, I love to hear that, man. Seriously, I want them to develop. I want them to grow. Iraq is one of those places, including Iran, believe it or not, that it's on my bucket list of places to travel to, just because I have this idea before I get too old to walk around. There's a bunch of different holy sites I want to go to. I created a holy site bucket list, where I can go travel the world to these particular places, whether it's the Tibet, Thailand, Iraq, Israel, Peru, you name it. There are so many different types of holy sites for different religions. I just want to go and experience them while I have the chance to do it. This world's turned into an ugly world, although I have no doubt that things will get squared away, because look, God don't like ugly, and right now the people and this planet is really ugly. This is what I like to hear in all those different fields: economic, trade, investment aspects in various sectors. The importance of coordination to face the various challenges facing the region and the world, foremost of which terrorism, and to enhance diplomatic, economic, and cultural cooperation, and to command what Cyprus offers to a number of Iraqi refugees. Iraq attaches importance to protecting its sovereignty, security, and stability, strengthening cooperation and interdependence in the fields of economic and trade, and renounces conflicts, noting that economic crisis and the spread of the RONA pandemic, climate change, requires the international community to exert more efforts and coordination to overcome these conditions. He's saying all the right words. Not only is he saying, Saleh, the president, is saying all the right words, but Al-Kadhimi seems to be taking actions that support what this man is saying. Minister of Finance, a series of measures taken by the government led to the stability of the economic conditions. So again, kudos to Alawi. A lot of people didn't like what he wanted to do, but he went in here, he did it. This is working out really well for Iraq. There is a big changes happening in their economy, all for the good, despite the fact that they devalue their own currency, which we didn't like. But again, I said this before, and I meant this with all sincerity. Don't get me wrong. I want to feel like I've made a good investment and I got a good return on it. It's not as important to me as seeing safety, security, and stability happen for the people in the Middle East. And I mean that with all my heart. I do want something to gain from the dinar, but not at the expense of the people. So when I read all these articles, I'm approaching it from a different aspect altogether. I like to see this. I like to read about these things. All these things look really positive as far as the direction that Iraq is going in. Man, they've been dealing with crap for over 20 years. And so my hopes and prayers go to them. I do keep an eye on what's going on in the economy because I know it doesn't affect the dinar. That's important to me, but not as important as stability, safety, and the people of Iraq once again flourishing. Anyways, it goes on to say in his speech, Law was talking about the collapse of oil prices that caused a crisis in Iraq's economy. And when the government assumed its duty, there was $1 billion in its accounts. That's it, $1 billion. So look, they made all the right moves, all the necessary moves to get back on solid ground. And so far, this first year in 2020, they're doing really good. It looks like they're making all the right moves. So it goes on here to say the problems are exacerbated by the lack of budget in 2020, the expansion of public sector's obligations and previous accumulations while we were trying to absorb employment obligations and pensions. Economic activity shrank sharply, noting that the Iraqi economy suffered from a decline to 11% of the GDP in 2020. He explained that the measures taken by the government led to the stabilization of the economy conditions. He explained that a series of measures taken by the government led to the stabilization of economic conditions, including the devaluation of the local currency, which had an important impact on the recovery of the domestic product. In addition to that, the price of the oil began to recover the fall of 2020, and we know the rest. Everything's starting to look good. They don't have as much deficit as we thought before, and they are following the reform paper. So congratulations to Alawi on the recommendations. They're actually implementing the white papers. He noted that our financial sphere is constrained by the serious stagnation because the economy is not diversified and relies heavily on a single resource and a large degree of the state budget. The difficulty in creating jobs from the private sector. Corruption is very high in all parts of the government, and the political repercussions and the public protests. Although the government has reduced internal tensions, And we promise to hold early elections, and we will fulfill the promises. Also, we might be taking a decision to subject large investments and are subject to scrutiny by the advisors of the relevant departments. As for the financial sector, we are able, in cooperation with the central bank, to control side effects that resulted from the new exchange rate and the emergence of the positive effect with the registration of requests for investments. So again, this is my opinion only, is, as they continue to rebuild, they're going to need a much stronger currency. But right now, I think what they're trying to do is figure out how to just manage the budget, which they're doing, implement the white paper reforms, all the things that need to be done for them to get on solid ground, which they will. But once that starts to happen, and it looks like they're definitely heading in the right direction, they're going to have to change the value of their currency. It has to start increasing in value. Now, I'm not saying it's going to overnight, they're going to give you an RI and an RV. I think it's going to go up in increments, but that's my opinion. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean that they're not going to call an RI or an RV. I'm just saying, based on what I'm looking at here, it is my opinion that the increments will happen quickly over time, not long or drawn out. It could be stretched out over a couple years, 3 years. Look, we've been waiting this long, but I really want to see Iraq get back on its feet and be the nation that we know they can be. The money will come later on. It looks like they're going in the right direction. Every day I look for improvements on getting rid of corruption, the stabilization, no protests. What are they doing with other nations as far as trade is concerned, security, and how are they representing themselves in getting out back into the international scene? And it seems like Al-Kadhimi is the right guy for the job. Ever since he's taken it over, he's done a phenomenal job, as far as I could tell based on what we read. So far, so good. I know this might be some of the stuff you guys don't want to hear. There's a lot of people expecting this RV announcement or an RI announcement, and I'm not saying that's not going to happen, but I'm saying the most likely scenario is we just pay attention to what's going on in the country, and then we can watch as time goes on and they continue to get back on solid ground. They start to restore the nation. You're going to see quickly over a couple of years, it jump up in huge increments. All right. So don't be disappointed with that. Again, it looks like they ran it more than one time in which Al-Kadhimi has won. Okay? So that's good. That's what we're looking for. They are taking all the right steps in the right direction. Before, you used to take 2 steps forward and like 5 steps back. It was really disappointing to watch. In 2019, we really thought it was going to happen, because they really were chugging along. And then all of a sudden, it just all fell apart. But this is much different ever since Al-Kadhimi's been in office. And I'm supporting his candidacy. Not that that matters, but I'm saying I'm really hoping he gets reelected and he continues to do the same great work that he's doing. So anyways, hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel. And I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.